I'm afraid to go after Nancy now.
Little orders?
No. Yep. All right. Yep. All right. Thank you. I'm going to reiterate too. Do not comply. I don't know those who know me. No. If you don't want to do it, you don't do it. Right? Those are constitutional rights or our God-given rights. And as long as you go along with the insanity, they're going to keep doing it.
That's right.
Power concedes nothing without a demand. But good morning, Patriots. I wanted, Sherry had me coming to speak, about the unity, about who we are as communities. And, we're all Americans. Our humanity and our values, they transcend skin color. And I want to tell you that we have to bind together and protect our values and protect them from these peddlers of deceit and destruction. We have instigators whose sole purpose is to divide. Their sole purpose is to push us to suspect and scorn one another, that our hearts would grow cold to each other, that they would feed stereotypes and try to start race wars. And we have to resist that. We are the line. We have to fight our flesh, lean into one another as they try to tickle our ears with charm rather than challenge, to entertain rather than edify, to please rather than preach. And that's not me. I stand before you to challenge you, to push you, and to edify you. I am a chaplain who's privileged to minister to everyone from the church to the unchurched, to those who have affluence and those who are stuck in a poverty cycle, and of course to our police, our first responders. And I am humbled that I have that honor and that they put their trust in me. I am Chaplain Ayesha Kreutz. I'm with the Frederick Douglass Foundation of New York. You can check us out, become a member. We're online. I love Jesus. I have an amazing husband standing right next to me who allows me to do a lot of these things. I have a great family. I love my country. I love Orleans County, and I love our law enforcement. I want to share with you a cautionary tale, but before I do, hear me. People are tired of all the race hustlers, like BLM, Antifa. They're coming into our communities and they're speaking out when a white cop kills a black person, but nothing else. All other manner of violence, you don't see them. They're just ghosts. And we have to be the ones that continue to speak out. People are afraid, but they're not fooled. Many in the city are not fooled, and they don't want anything to do with these rabble-rousers. They're fighting back, and they want your help. These people in urban communities are the ones that depend the most on police, and they are harmed the most by the dangerous defund the police rhetoric and other anti-cop rhetoric. They're being chewed up and spit out. But before I moved here, I lived in Rochester for a long time. And I'm about to tell you a cautionary tale regarding what happened in Rochester. Rochester's Mayor, Lovely Warren, has wanted to make sure police officers were respecting criminal rights. Granted, her estranged husband was one of those, peddling drugs to the very people that she wanted to protect. Talk about tickling ears. That's right, our civil liberties have now been redefined as criminal rights. And what used to be civil liberties of law-abiding citizens are now being sacrificed because our civil liberties are getting in the way of these criminal rights. And let us not get that twisted. Everyone has the right to, their God-given rights. No one should be treated like an animal, right? Even if they act like one, right? We're better than that. We're America. We don't do that. Anyway, Rochester installed a civilian review board to micromanage the city police officers. It was filled with defund the police, all of them, all these BLM and Antifa protesters. And in other words, our civil liberties of law-abiding citizens, people are being stripped away, so protesters had the right to peacefully riot and burn buildings, kill people that they didn't like, and do graffiti all over the city. In the eyes of the Civilian Review Board, it was the cops who were the bad guys, the law-abiding citizenry. And they are the ones that needed to shut up and to have the cultural vandals, they're the heroes of it all. And why do I bring this up? Where's the cautionary tale? Here's one example. Look at what happened at the East Avenue Wegmans in Rochester back in late March. The protesters rioting against the cops marched on Wegmans on East Avenue. We won't get into that. Wegmans, not wanting their stores to be vandalized, looted, or destroyed, locked the doors. Over 200 people that were shopping in the early afternoon were basically taken hostage and not allowed to leave. All the while, the vandals were outside the store, pounding on the windows at law-abiding citizens as if they were caged animals in a terrarium. They continued to do all their subpar artwork on the parking lot, and the police arrived and did nothing. Was that because they're terrible cops? No. It's because their rules of engagement were written by the people on that civil liberties are really a euphemism for criminal rights. They were forced to stand back and watch these protesters in Wegmans hold 200 people hostage in their store. This is how Mac Wrights described it on the Frederick Douglass Foundation website at the time. They let the hostage takers do graffiti all over the place while hundreds of scared citizens were rotting away in a grocery store prison. Sure, Wegmans apparently fed their hostages in hopes that they would not be violating the Geneva Convention rules of taking hostages. But still, unlike the hostage-taking chalk artists, some people probably had jobs where they needed to be. Yet, to soothe the anger of all of these precious little vandals, Rochester cops and Wegmans colluded to aid the hostage taker in their felonious pursuits. Imagine if these hostage takers tried to burn down the Wegmans. Would the cops have been obligated to prevent the firemen from putting out the fire, knowing that the water would destroy the hostage taker's precious chalk art, thus violating their First Amendment rights? Now, you think that's a stupid question, but I guarantee you the civil criminal lovers and the police department would have had that discussion without cracking a smile. It's as if the National Lampoon is now in charge of keeping us safe. After pointing out that the cops of Rochester had already been neutered, the question becomes, do you really think civilians will be more civil when cops have to choose between doing their job and having a job? And that's a very important question, and we cannot and should not have let that happen in Rochester. We live in a world that was once considered good, and now those things that are considered good are evil, and evil is now good and almost mandatory at times. With moral relativism like that, the police officers who risk their lives every day for American public are often, too often, persecuted, despised, and fired for what they think is right and what they have been trained to do, for upholding the laws of the politicians the very people complaining voted for. And then the police are obligated to do that's what's best for the criminal. We as the law-abiding citizenry need to recognize their plight, encourage them to hang in there, and remind them that there are right-minded people out there who are aware of what they're going through. Our law enforcement officers do not deserve what is happening to them and happening to this country. And if we're not careful, when all is said and done, there won't be a man or woman alive willing to go through what it takes to be a cop. That said, I want to thank our police officers and let them know that while the loudest complainers are good at getting their demands met, there is an ever-growing silent majority that stands with you, that appreciates you more than you can imagine. We must fight them, and that means voting out all of these globalist, socialist, pinko commies, no matter what side of the aisle they're on. God bless our law enforcement, God bless our officers, our first responders, and God bless America. Thank you.